Post.
Acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they go by now. Let him know he don't want to stop.
65 yards, and the ball is thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, you forgot to see my book.
And you see proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. It's Tuesday night, the best night of the week other than game day. Time for the Bama Standard. I'm your host, Justin Riley. Before we get started, we got a reason to be excited tonight. I want you to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, live chat, do your thing tonight. If you're catching the replay, get down in the comment section below. Show us some love there. Let us know what you think. This episode is brought to you none other than by the great Title Towel. Listen, your game day is not fully complete unless you have your own Title Towel. Go to whitwillsports.com today. Enter the promo code STANDARD and get you a nice discount courtesy of your favorite Alabama network, the Bama Standard. That's right, folks. Get your Title Towel today. We're only 88 days away from kickoff. They need to see plenty of those in the stadium at Tallahassee. As mentioned, I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me, as always, is an all-star crew headlined by the undefeated, undisputed king of comedy. He's everyone's cousin, but more importantly, he is the star of the show, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Brown.
What's happening, people? I told you I was going to be here, man. I'm ready to go. We got some ballers in the building, and I'm ready. Let's get it going, man. Let's get it going.
Yes, sir. And then we got a 1999 All-SEC linebacker. When Ric Flair said to beat the man, woo, you got to beat the man. Ladies and gentlemen, he's still that man, Marvin Constant.
Hey, man, listen, roll tide. It's a pleasure to be here. Steve, I see you got that helmet on from your first job as a crash dummy for GM. Good job.
You're lame. You're lame.
Yeah. And then we have another All-SEC alumni in the house, played DB at Alabama, played for Bills Mafia. Then he scouted for Bills Mafia. He was the first GM of college football. He's with 247 Sports. But more importantly, he's with us, the illustrious, the legendary Gerald "Smoke" Dixon.
Did you call him illustrious?
I did call him illustrious.
Well, the only reason why Steve rung it up is because he can't spell illustrative. Okay.
Hey, man. Shut up, Marvin.
You're going to leave my brother alone. Don't start. It's too early.
Marvin, you know that word was not in his reader for alternative school.
Hey, y'all.
He had pop-up books. What you talking about, man? It was all pictures.
Hey, man. He called Gerald illustrious.
It begins.
Welcome to the show.
And then last but not least, he is new to this show relatively, but he's not new to the network. He's the host of the Opening Kick every Monday night. He's a legend at Galette's on the Strip, but he is who we call brother, Daniel Pettey.
The only friend I got on this page.
Look, I know you guys like making monuments and Bryant Museum and being all over there. Look, it takes real special men to make the wall at Galette's on the Strip. So just saying. No,
I'm glad I ain't on it. I'm good.
As always with you gents, especially Mr. Humphrey. Look, man, everybody, y'all just have to take a sidetrack. We got to talk some Denver Broncos football for about the next 3 hours. Good to be here with you guys. Good to be here with Mr. Humphrey for the first time.
Daniel is a bit of a Broncos fan, Ravens flock. But anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later. We have got a legend in the house, the man that wrote every single record in the record book, two-time All-American, two-time All-SEC running back. He currently holds the record for the most 200-yard rushing games in Alabama history. He's the baddest dude to ever tote the rock, ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Humphrey.
Yeah, and Bobby, I want to say this. Bobby, you were much better than Marvin at Bama. But anyway, yeah, let's start the show. Let's go. Yeah.
Now, Steve, I'll be honest, and Marvin, I'm sorry. Steve says that, and I'm like, come on, man. Marvin was the dude, all SEC linebacker, when you're talking Mr. Humphrey, you might be right this time.
Yeah.
Hey, we all know respect is due on Mr. Humphrey's name. We all know that, baby.
That's right.
Well, you know what? You're right. Respect is due. Bobby, you was much better than Marvin at Bama. Let's go. Let's start the show.
Let's go. All right, now listen, we've got the future in the house. He's one of the baddest dudes I have ever seen tote the rock in high school. Even though he ran through my alma mater, Northwest Rankin, he is now on the scene at Alabama. He's going to make us forget about guys like Derrick Henry. He is going to set all the records. And, Bobby, he might beat yours. I don't know. But I like his chances. This dude probably could take out Marvin if it was 4th and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first time ever on the Bama Standard, Alabama running back, Daniel Hill.
Yeah, and he's my cousin. You got to tell people he's my cousin, my first cousin. hey, Daniel, man, before we get into this, I want to let you know you were much better in high school than Marvin was in college. Yeah, let's go with the show. Let's go with the show.
We'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Start the show.
But listen,
Maybe he can get some of them lockets on his head and give you some, Steve, since y'all related.
I know, man. Hey, man, look. Mine fell out, man. Hey, Bobby, you know I used to have mine fell out, but they fell out one by one, and the last one was like hanging on like a clip-on tie. I just snatched it on out. So yeah.
You know, I never seen someone experience male pattern baldness at 24 and a half, but you know, I mean.
Hey, cuz, don't laugh at him, cuz. Don't laugh at him. You will never be back at a family reunion. Don't laugh at him, cuz. You will never get a Fago red pop again. I swear to God, don't do it.
My bad.
But does he bring anything to the family reunion, Daniel?
No, he don't bring nothing.
Just take place.
He takes some plates on those, don't he?
Before we get started, Daniel, I heard that you recently went and hung out with Johnny Dang, got you a nice piece of jewelry. Saw the pictures, dude. It's looking right. Talk to us a little bit about that. How was that experience?
It was really a great experience. Like, honestly, it's something that I really never thought I'd be able to do. But, you know, with the grace of God and, you know, for getting me into this position, I was able to do that, and I had a great time doing it.
Man, it looks good.
Yeah, I know Johnny, man. Hey, listen, when you go back to see Johnny, tell him to give me what you call a sterling silver herringbone.
What is
Don't do that. Don't judge me. Don't do that.
Don't let him in that place, Daniel. Because last couple of times he was at the Bryant Museum when we had a live show, he's stolen things from the museum.
I keep it real.
Steve, 59 and still wearing an anklet. Listen, come on, let's move on.
Hey, man, don't do that. Hey.
All right, let's get everything started. I'll definitely lead off for us, and then I'll let the legends on our panel get their say about what they want to talk to Daniel about. So, Daniel, what I love about you is toughness. We had a guy on a couple weeks ago that was pretty tough himself. Matter of fact, he found out he got cancer. And he said, no, I ain't letting that take me out. He overcame it, and then the next week, he's back at practice. So we like tough dudes here at Alabama. So you suffered 2 devastating injuries in high school, breaking both legs. A lot of people believe that your career should have ended right there, but it didn't. What was it inside you that made you keep going? And when most would have said you probably should have walked away.
Yeah, I mean, it was a point in time that I felt like.
Man, Boost Mobile got him.
No, he was saying it was a point in time he felt dark. And yes, that's what we are.
He's going to a dark place right now to set
in a dark place.
to set the mood.
Yeah, he was in a dark place.
We get him back.
Yeah.
Well,
we should get him back in a second.
But listen, this kid, I was telling you before, man, watching his high school film, he looked like a grown man battling against kids. Well, it wasn't a battle, more so a battle on their side of things. no doubt that when he got to Alabama, he was going to start making his mark early. Smoke, you had an opportunity to kind of watch him in practice before A-Day. What's the first thing that jumped out about him to you?
Well, like you said, the first thing that jumps about him is his size and his toughness.
Okay.
And how he is, as much as he has speed to get outside, he naturally has the ability to find creases as an inside runner. And one of the few young guys that when he does run the football, you can see him lower his pad level on contact and run through defenders. Go ahead, Dan. I was just giving you your props and your ability to run inside and outside and being a natural runner of the football with nice and really good pad level on contact.
That's what Cubs do.
That's what he does. But no, man, you broke both legs, and really, he probably should have stopped you in your tracks. You said it ain't going to happen. So what was it inside you that made you keep going and really prove people wrong who doubted you at that point?
Really, my family, they helped me, get through that difficult time, because it was a point in time, especially after the second time, that I felt like, maybe, it should be best for me to step away and, go to a different sport. But I really just trusted my family, and during that time, really built a good relationship with God, and He really helped me get through that time. And, I trusted myself that I'll be able to get back to, how I was before. And I really just continued to grind and keep my head down, and I knew that it was my 10th grade year that I broke it the second time. So I knew that, like, I had to get back, because at the time I had about 6 offers. And I knew if I quit, then the dream of me playing college football wouldn't be there anymore. I knew that I had to do something. So I trusted in God, and I trusted in my family that I'd be able to get back to where I was, and now I'm here.
Well, quick question for you. Actually, I went through a horrible knee injury while playing at Alabama. One of the things a lot of people don't understand is when you go back after those types of injuries, it is a difficult process. How long did it take for you to get back to being comfortable to saying, hey, I'm back to who I used to be? And was there one particular event that let you know that, hey, I'm back?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard for me to, come back and know, like, that football is a dangerous game and things like that happen. Coming back from a second leg injury, like, I was scared to, go back and play. But after a while, I just told myself, like, you just got to, get through it and get that out your head. And, if something else happens, it's meant to happen. That's what my whole mindset was through the whole, recovery process is, everything that happens is meant to happen. So I just put it in the back of my head and just continue to work and grind, and I eventually got through it.
Oh, wow. So question, let me ask you this. Your second leg injury, do you think it came as a result of you overcompensating from the previous injury? Because at times, when athletes hurt a leg or arm or a leg, they will overcompensate and put a lot of pressure on the leg that's healthy, and they end up damaging that one. So did that kind of happen as a result, or something different?
I kind of feel like I came back a little too early from the other leg injury, because at the time I was doing track too. So I also wanted to get back for track. So I feel like I came back from the recovery process a little early, and that could be a reason that, the second injury happened.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Daniel, let's spin this thing forward. Now that you're in college, loaded backfield, you got some guys in front of you. Coming out of the spring, what are the few things that you've learned about yourself that you're going to take from what you did last year to this year to push you ahead to make sure you can be that running back that you want to be this coming season?
Oh, I feel like my mindset has changed from, last year, and then going through the season and going through the spring. My mindset has changed a lot. And I really found the love that I have for football, for real. Because I've always liked football, but I never felt like I actually loved it. But now I feel like I have a real deep love for the game, and I want to continue to do everything I can to help the team be successful.
So
Bobby, let me toss
ahead,
it over to you, brother. Listen, there's something about that year or two at Alabama that lets Alabama running backs take off. You did that. You had 1,471 yards rushing and 15 touchdowns. This is Daniel Hill's second year, man. What advice do you have for him as he enters that second year and has an opportunity to really pop off?
Well, sound like the young man really has a good head on his shoulder and kind of knows the direction in which he wants to take and understand how to overcome adversity and setbacks. I would just like to just tell him to just keep on grinding. You never know when things are going to click in a way where it just seems like it's just easy, rhythmatic, and it's just, you ever played in one of those games, Daniel, where you just, every time you touch the ball, you done somewhere, you just felt the groove, and you just got into the swing of things, and everything became easy. Just continue to work and strive for those kind of moments, and I believe they will come.
Yes, sir.
So, hey, I wanted to ask you a question though. What event did you do in track?
I ran hurdles.
Oh, 110 or three? Probably 110, not the 300, right?
No, I ran both.
Oh wow.
Okay.
I ran 5. Whoa.
Daniel, I want to add something real quick onto what Mr. Humphrey just said. Before he started, you said you're getting to the point where you're starting to love it because you didn't used to love it. The thing that makes a lot of people great in this sport is their love for the game, because that love for the game is what's going to allow you to take that extra time to prepare, to watch film, to do those extra reps conditioning, to be there for your brothers when they going through it and they can't make it through. That's what that love of that game does. That love pushes you to that next level to where it separates good from great. Because when you love something, you're a lot more committed to it. So I know you say you're just now starting to love it. So I'm looking forward to seeing the difference now that you're starting to love the game, because I know what comes with loving the game in terms of preparation. So I'm looking forward to see it.
Yes, sir.
And Daniel, let me say this, man. I've been doing my research, and you're currently ranked to 86, and I want to see you get to around the 93. Do you think you can get to around the 93 on the PlayStation? I just want to, just elaborate on that. You're 80, currently at 86, but do you feel like you can get to a 93?
Yeah, I'm gonna get to a 93 just because you said it, cousin.
That's what it is. This interview is over.
Daniel, I got a quick question about your journey here, man, because I don't know if people realize the names that were after you. And what brought my attention, one of our fans said, you're from Mississippi. How hard was it Lane Kiffin coming after you? And I'm not sure Ole Miss was a threat, but I don't know if people realize Steve Spurrier Jr. was recruiting you from Mississippi State. Cadillac was on you from Auburn. Montario Hardesty was at you from South Carolina. You had some of the biggest names in our football world from these schools coming at you. What was it in Robert Gillespie that won out for him in Alabama to make you pick the Tide?
Me and Coach G have had a great relationship ever since, we first met. So that's what was one of the best things and most important things for my family, having a good relationship with the coaching staff at each school. Mm-hmm. And this Coach G, he just, he's all about the game, the love he has for the game, and how he not only wants you to become a great player, but also a great human being. And that was really, one of the most important things to me. So that's what really led me to Bama.
Awesome. So I heard a rumor from a guy who's been on our show, your offensive lineman, Rod Montgomery. He told us that he is the reason why you scored your first touchdown. Any truth to that?
Yeah, Rock is most definitely the reason.
He said he had to throw you in there.
He learned quick. Give props to the big
cuz don't like your attitude about this, cuz. You always take the glory. Don't worry. Yeah, always. You did it. He ain't do nothing. He got in the way.
Nah, he had to block the defensive lineman.
Yeah, no, he fell in front of him. He fell while he was blocking. You did that.
Right.
Mr. Humphrey, is that the case? Is it always the running back?
Hey, I always get them lineman credit and pat them on the butt, buddy. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Steve. Don't listen to Steve. You might not get a yard. You might get tackled for a loss the next play.
The thing about running backs, they always want to take the glory for everything. Like Derek Lassick, he says the offense and him are the reason why they won a national championship. And then you'll get Langham and Teague say, man, we carried y'all all season. Running backs always want all the glory, but don't do nothing half the time.
Ooh!
Whoa! Wait a minute!
Cuss him out.
All right, Daniel, you can't let him go on a tirade like that. Doing that to the name of running backs. Fire back at this dude. He needs it.
That's very disrespectful. I feel like running backs have one of the hardest positions on the field. We got to run the ball and we got to block.
No, cuss him out.
Daniel, is that the biggest transition from high school to college, the blocking?
Yeah, that's most definitely the biggest transition. Because, well, me in high school, I played quarterback. I don't think I had to block anybody.
Ooh.
Would y'all just run the one man wildcat take off?
No, he could toss the rock too now.
Yeah, I mean, I could throw a little bit, but I mean, I never had to block anybody in high school. I don't think.
So, what was that experience like the first time you had to chip or take on a defensive end or a defensive tackle?
It was different. That's how.
Hey, cuz I think he's challenging your blocking skills. That's what I think he's doing.
Let's back up a minute. Bobby, you heard what Marvin just said about running backs. We need to hear from you. Where do you stand on that nonsense that Mr. Constant, who sounds obviously bitter that he didn't get enough attention,
who's now ducking out of the screen?
I just said one word: linebacker.
Listen, I respect linebackers and running backs, man, but because they both mirror each other. Marvin just shooting shots at both of those guys because they're just more talented than you. Marvin wanted to be a running back in college. You wanted to be a running back.
Marvin was a fullback in high school. You know
man, Marvin was something, but he wasn't a running back. So he's a little bit jealous of the running backs that scored touchdowns, and he just had to go over the other side and play linebacker because he didn't have the movement skills like these two guys have. He's a straight line dude, try to run you over every single time.
I prefer to hit opposed to getting hit. Let's just be clear about
You wanted to run the ball. They didn't want you.
Let's uncover the truth. Daniel, he's mad that Coach G faked him out of his cleats at Florida.
Ooh.
First of all, he didn't shake me out of nothing. You go back and watch the tape and you'll see what happened when I played against Coach G, okay?
Hey, Daniel, just coming out of high school, you know, I feel like, I'm just saying, I think deeply. Do you feel like coming out of the locker room, the first person that busts through the paper coming out of the locker room, why don't he ever get credit?
I have no idea. I don't know. That's a great question.
Because I used to bust out of the paper. I'd be the first one every time, and that would like be my only highlight. But nobody ever said anything about me in the paper. And I was just wondering, why don't they kind of bust out of the paper?
Probably because it was you doing it.
Well, here's a question for you, though, Daniel. Given that you didn't play running back in high school, now you're in college. And again, you're having to block for the first time. And then being a running back in college is different than being a running back in high school, especially when you start talking about a running back that's a first down back, second down back, or if he's a 3-down back. Do you feel that you're a 3-down back? And if so, what makes you what? Or what do you feel like you need to work on?
I mean, obviously, I'm not a complete player yet. There's a lot of different things I need to work on. But I feel like overall, I could be an every down back, in my opinion, just based off my skill set and things that I can do. But again, there are things that I do need to still work on. So just keep working on those things, and hopefully I can become a 1 through 4 down back.
I like that.
I have no question that you'll do that. And we've heard that your OC, Ryan Grubb, has already said you've probably made one of the biggest jumps during the spring. What do you feel like the difference has been this spring as opposed to this past year that's really allowed you, I guess, come into your own?
Really just my mindset. It's different things that, I go into practice every day and think about that, help me, and motivate me to, do better and continue to work on my craft and become the best player I can be. So I really say that's the main thing, just my mindset is, much different from last spring to this spring.
You know what, Daniel, speaking about mindset, the first thing I always ask high school running backs getting to college is a playbook. How difficult was it to grasp the entire playbook, and where do you feel like you're at right now, second year?
Coming in, knowing the whole, learning how signals are and how long plays can get. It was pretty difficult at times. But I feel like I'm a fast learner. So once I see things a few times, I'm able to catch on and, remember. So I feel like now I'm pretty much, I'm set. I feel like I know the whole playbook and the ins and out of it.
That allows you to play faster.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also another thing. Just knowing the whole system and the playbook, that also has allowed me to, make the jump that I did make.
That's what's happening.
The thing about it, when you start looking at running back play, there's a lot of factors that come into it. And Mr. Humphrey, maybe you can elaborate on this for me or not, but I know when you're playing linebacker, you want to know everything that offense is doing, any play that could potentially come out of that formation. You get motion, you got to know who's on ball, who's off ball. You got to know who can do what. I don't know, do running backs take that same approach in understanding whether it's, man coverage, zone coverage, understanding, what those run fits will be like? Because again, if you understand the run fits and you understand your blocking scheme, you can more than likely predict where those gaps will be, whether it's going to be a cutback lane or whether or not you're going to get over the top off tackle. So do running backs go to that level of preparation to understand where these lanes will be?
I think it's very beneficial for running backs to kind of know the actual blocking scheme of when it comes to run plays, because when you're doing a guard tackle pull, you got one that's kicking out and one that's going up in the hole. You got to know what kind of where you're going to make your cuts, where you're going to make your reads, where you can anticipate your cuts, how you can mislead a defensive lineman to help a lineman, mislead a defensive lineman where you're going to go outside knowing that you're going to get a kick out block to cut inside. You also in the passing game got to be able to read, coverages and knowing where the blitz pick up, knowing the checks, knowing when you hot, knowing whether you got man coverage. Because when I was a 3-down back, and when I got to the league, it was very important to knowing that you was going to be the number one read, and if you got man coverage, that you're the first read, you got to beat that guy, and you got to know if it's zone coverage and where you want to sit in that zone. So all of that stuff works the same way on like it works on defense, Marvin, like it does on offense as a back. And sometimes you got to be listening for the check, and where you're hot, knowing if the corner is coming and the linebacker's coming, and you out in the backfield, which you got to know who to pick up. Because I'm kind of like Daniel. I came out of high school, I ran the ball about 30, 40 times a game. I never had to block inside. It's tough trying to learn how to block. You get a lot of 4-letter words when you get to the NFL. I missed the block on John Elway, and he got hit in the mouth my rookie year, but it took me out of the game.
Hey, you got some different level monsters coming downhill over there. You better be on your A game when them boys come.
Not only that, Bobby, you walked right into basically an NFL defense at Alabama in practice, because you had to face Cornelius Bennett, All-Pro, should be in the Hall of Fame. You had to face Derek Thomas, Keith McCants. So you had to learn how to do all that real quick.
Yeah, at Alabama, it's something going on.
I can hear you. Well,
do y'all hear that?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
It sounds like the documentary going off what my daughter did, but I don't know how's it on my screen. It just popped up. I hear the voice.
It's actually Steve running interference because we hadn't talked to him in a while. So he wants to bring it back to him while the interference is going on.
Do I need to sign off and come back on?
No,
we can try that. And Danny, if you wouldn't mind answering that question Marvin had, great explanation from Bobby, but I'd love to hear what your perspective is on it.
Can you re-ask the question?
Yeah, Marvin, run that
about
back to
the preparation for games and understanding that, having to look at defensive lines, understanding what those fronts are doing, understanding the coverage behind the front, understanding your offensive line protection and how those run fits by the defense correlate to that blocking scheme so that you can identify those cutback lanes or whether or not you're going to take it off tackle, you're going to take it inside. because it's all like a game of chess. So understanding what's across the ball from you allows you to make better reads pre-snap. So it kind of allows you to determine before the ball is even snapped, I got option A, B, and C, and you better go boom, boom, boom through that real quick to make that appropriate decision. So is that the way you approach the game as well?
Yeah, you have to if you want to be, a good player. Just knowing the defensive scheme and, the front that they're in, if the shade's to you, if the shade is away from you. As a running back, it's great for you to know all that, because if you know that, then running the ball is much easier. And then knowing, if you're to the field or away from the field, knowing that where the safeties are and this and that, it allows you to understand who can come on a blitz and who can't, seeing if they're in man or seeing if they're in zone. So that as a player, that is something that I really take pride in, knowing, the offense scheme and the defense scheme also.
What what do you consider yourself? Who did you watch? Who did you pattern your running skill out there, and how do you consider yourself? Sum up, like, what kind of back you consider yourself? Like when I was watching ball in high school and in college, there was a guy by the name of Marcus Allen, and he was at USC. And that was kind of like my kind of idol, the guy I kind of wanted to pattern my running style after. Who is that for you, Daniel?
Well, honestly, growing up, I used to watch just a lot of different backs, just taking pieces from every, back that I watched. But I'd probably say the main person that, people could mirror me as, or that I mirror myself as, is, Derrick Henry. Just growing up watching him, from Alabama to the NFL, that's somebody that I can really mirror myself as, and, take things from his game and, put into my game.
And what exact parts of his game do you think you can replicate in terms of running the football?
How physical he is. That's one thing that I really take pride in, being a physical running back, and, having the man in front of me, fear that, that I'm coming. So you have to have a plan when you tackle me.
I like that. You got to have a plan when you tackle them, because many people don't have a plan when they tackle Derrick Henry.
Man, they still don't. They say they do. They don't.
They have a hope and a prayer, really.
I tell you, Daniel, everybody tuned into that Mississippi-Alabama All-Star game because you're now teammate Hollywood Ryan Williams, and you were the guy that actually caught my eye. I mean, obviously Ryan had a hell of a day that day, but you really took off for Mississippi that day. And you're talking about comparison. You reminded me, because a lot of people were, hey, the bigger back, is the speed there. Yeah, the speed's there, buddy. You kind of got a Ricky Williams look going back to the Texas State. Was the like what you reminded me of running. But man, no more questions other than just glad to have you at Alabama. What's your expectations, man? What are we gonna do this year, bud?
National championship. That is the number one.
Whoa! That's a soundbite. I like that.
You can get that soundbite from about 3,000 kids, Steve. It'd be all right.
Hey.
I don't think that's going to bulletin board fodder us.
And it comes as no surprise it's Alabama. That's what we expect, right?
That is the expectation here, national championship. We got to, get back on the right path and do what we need to do to get back to the national championship.
I like it.
I like it. Hey, listen, I got to get out of here, man, because I got a show tonight, Justin. You know that. But listen, Daniel, I want to say this to you before I go, man. Listen. If you want to be remembered when you die, borrow money from everybody you know. I just wanted to say something deep.
Is that how you gonna lead off in the show?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I thought I'd try to say something deep. I'm gonna go.
I thought he was finna say something important.
The title is that, man. You got it. He said something.
He dropped the mic and go.
He just left.
How comedians do it.
Daniel, I got to ask this question. At Alabama, certain jersey numbers carry weight, and number 4 is one of them. You recently changed it. When fans see it, they think of greats like T.J. Yeldon or Brian Robinson. Now that you're wearing that number,
timeout.
It's my question. It's my question, sir.
Hold up.
You'll get your chance in just a moment. Let me finish my question. Anyway, what do you want people to feel, remember, or expect when they see number 4 on your back?
Well, from a football aspect, I want to be remembered as, the most physical back in the country. I want to be somebody that, get all the tough yards, the 4th and 1s, all that. I want to be able to, do that for my team. And just off the field, I just want to be remembered as a great person. I just feel like I'm a wonderful guy.
No
Well, if that's the
question.
case on 3rd and short, whatever you do, don't ever slide. Mark, please don't do that.
Hey, Marvin, Bobby, I love the 26 and 45. Both you guys are great. Man, Justin just left the number 4 out of there.
I mean, one on the panel.
Man.
We got a panel.
Okay,
number 4
I should have specified running backs in terms of running backs. No shade at Smoke.
Oh man, I caught all of the strays. Pop, 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 pop. I caught all of them.
Hey, I know they changed the locker room up, and I haven't been there, and I've talked about this on the show. One of the things that always was cool to me about Bama's locker room is when you get the jersey, they don't retire jerseys at Bama, but they have a plaque that has every dude before you that wore that who you're representing. Is that still the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Smoke's all SEC. They got him on there.
I think so.
What names are all on yours?
Hey, you know what? Here we go. So I'm gonna set both of those non-Alabama players on this panel straight, fellas. All right, you guys can't be upset that the 26, the 4, the 45 is so well represented. We'll understand that. We'll get y'all names in there somewhere and etch a sketch it and cross it out later on. What a great job of switching your number over to the great number 4. Welcome to the family, my good brother.
All right, before we let you go,
but you know what though, I
Marvin
want to tell you one thing, Dave. One thing that I find cool. Like I said, my last season playing at Alabama was the year 2000, so we're 25 years removed. But one of the things that I enjoy and love the most about playing at Alabama is when you go to the Bryant Museum's website and you have that link to all the lettermen, and you go click on your name. And when I click on my name and I see that all SEC plaque and I see all my other stuff up there, man, 25 years later, there's no feeling like that. So understand the work that you're doing right now, it's going to last a lifetime. So build the body of work that you want your family and your friends to always look at and go back and say, hey, 100 years from now, hey, look at what my uncle did. Look at what my great-grandfather did. Look at XYZ, because, again, the history is there, and it's always going to be there. So, again, build the legacy that you want people to remember you by.
Yes, sir.
That's great. It's good stuff.
Parting thoughts for Daniel, Bobby, before we let him jump off?
No, man, I think Marvin's kind of summed it up well, man. You want to build your legacy, leave your mark.
Yes, sir.
I believe you will do it. Brother, we thank you so much for coming on. Been an absolute blessing to get to know you. Hopefully you'll come back. We'd love to have you on as often as possible. Before you jump out, let folks know where they can find you on social media. Talk about AP agency, and then how folks can get involved in terms of NIL if they want to contribute and help you with your journey.
Oh, well, Instagram is d1.danny3. Twitter is the same. AP, they're the greatest sports agency in the world. They are the reason I want to go see John Dang, and I can't thank them enough.
I love it. I love it. Brother, thank you again. We'll see you soon, and have a great season, man. This is going to be the year of Daniel Hill. Roll Tide, brother.
Stay
Roll Tide,
man.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. All right, Bobby, we got to talk, brother. You got a movie coming out. I didn't realize that you're going to be in Hollywood, but you are. Let's talk about Nothing But a Winner. So, of course, Marlon's making this happen. Brianna's making it happen. What really made this come about, and why is it important now that this be put in front of not only Bama fans, but really the entire nation to see?
Well, I think it was some Brianna and Caleb Castile kind of threw out there and started working on it. Then they got some producers and got directors and got a team of people and got Marlon to be able to kind of invest in it along with a lot of other investors. And I'm not exactly sure what sparked the move to make it, but it's something really, really neat that they came across doing. And it's about the integration and back when Coach Bryant was the coach and how blacks were allowed and how he instrumentally figured out a way to kind of get black players on the football team and the impact it made over the time or the span that he was there and making that happen throughout the entire South. And I don't know what inspired Brianna to do it that way, but it is it's a pretty good documentary. It's very emotional. It's if you're a Bama fan, you kind of you think it's leading up to kickoff on Saturday versus Auburn. You get chills. I mean, it's a really good movie. She went out and she got a lot of people and during that era to be able to participate in the documentary. A few players from California, Sam Cunningham and a group of those guys, and obviously got Coach Saban and a lot of other former Alabama football players and maybe a sports writer or two that's in the documentary. But it's really, really good. And I think the impact of it is most important. So when you go through that thing and you look at it and you ask Coach Saban and you ask some other people, who's the greatest coach of all time, and without any hesitation, they all said Coach Bryant. And I think it's because of the era that Coach Bryant went through and the changes that he made and the impact he made, just not on the players on the field, but with the players off the field through their life, as well as changing the dynamics of segregation back during that time. So so it's going to come out in July. It's going to be in movie theaters, and it's a pretty good documentary.
I have a question for you real quick. Speaking of that, you say it's inspiring, which it is inspiring. But my question to you is, when you were playing at Alabama, did you truly understand the amount of young African-American men, boys, that you were inspiring? Because so many of us, I was probably 6, 7 years old when I started selling coaching programs, and Brian Denny wasn't old enough, but I was strong enough to told them, so they let me have them. But do you understand how many people y'all truly inspired? Because I know it was more than just me selling cokes, watching y'all play and saying one day, I'm going to do that.
I really, at the time, no, you don't think about that because you kind of in the moment. I always tell pitchers, if you want to see how beautiful the picture is, you have to actually step outside of the picture and then actually look at the picture, and then you can really appreciate it. While you're in the picture, you really can't appreciate it. So at that particular point in time, when I was there, I didn't know I was inspiring young individuals and like yourself, and the impact that we were making. No more than I think the guys way back in those days, like Wilbur Jackson and all the guys who came along who played up under that era during that time when, not only, those teams, didn't have any black players, and they weren't allowed to play any teams that had black players. Yeah. So, it was kind of one of those things that those guys don't really know the impact that they made. I really don't think they do. I know they think they do. They did do something. Now that you look at, they did do something, but I don't think they knew the impact of it. You never know the impact. You think about on Saturday, man, the number of people that you bring to their feet when you get a sack and when you make a big play. But there are also some kids that are watching it on TV that you're inspiring to be the next greatest linebacker or the next greatest defensive back. You don't know that. You don't know who you inspire. You just go out and you try to do your very, very best, and hopefully, that you can bring a win for your team. But more importantly, you inspire somebody out of, that's having a hard time, that's going through some difficulties, that needs some uplifting, and you don't know what kind of impact you're making.
Well, I would definitely say y'all definitely inspired and impacted so many of us, because the only way we were ever going to get in that stadium was to sell coaching programs. And we did that every home game my entire childhood until I was playing high school football and I had responsibility. So again, thank you for inspiring.
And speaking of inspiration, Bobby, I don't know if you remember when you came back and you spoke to us the team in 2000. Coach DeBoer asked you to come back. After practice, you sat and you spent about 20 minutes. Coaches left, and you just talked to us about real life events that happened for you. But you brought it down to the level that everyone on that team felt and knew that you were talking to a real person. And when you left and you went back into, and we all went back into the locker room, there were some of my teammates that you brought to tears because the message that you shared with us really struck us in such a powerful way that a lot of guys that were doing some of the things that they weren't supposed to do, that you told your story and explained the reason why and how you came out of that, really made a shift in those guys. So just like you said, you don't know who you're impacting that day, the impactful message that you will have on somebody, but man, we appreciated so much of you just coming out and spending your time with us and just sharing your wonderful story, because your journey helped fuel many of us to go on the correct path.
Oh, wow. See, I this first time I've ever even heard that kind of conversation that took place in the locker room after I got through speaking. So I did not know that. Well, you've just blessed me to encourage me to continue to do what I do. I'm always encouraging young people. I was happy to see the Daniel Hill kid on because he has a bright future ahead of him. And I hope what we share tonight with him, and even with the joking and all the other fun that we had, that hopefully he's impacted by knowing that someone is out here cheering for him and pulling for him, and I know we all are.
Daniel Pettey, I know you've been chomping at the bit to talk about the Denver Broncos.
No, I won't, man. I won't do that.
No, go ahead. You've been good. So
what? I mean, well, I've got my laundry list of John Elway questions. Is that what we're talking about? No. Look, I do have to say this. Like, you know, all of us kind of your dad has an influence on who you cheer for, most of you guys. And I want to ask you that. Did you grow up out at Glen, Birmingham? Were you Bama, Auburn? You went through the recruiting process with your son, and it's very, you know, it's talked about ad nauseum how much recruiting's changed. What was that like for you when you were being recruited to Bama?
You know, that's a very interesting question, because you would think that I chose Bama because I grew up a Bama fan because of various reasons. But the only reason I actually became a Bama fan was because of what kind of economic impact it brought to my pocketbook.
Wait, there wasn't NIL back then.
But see, y'all took it the wrong way.
You did.
Because I was just like Marvin Constant. I actually sold Cokes. But most importantly, before I started selling Cokes, I parked cars for a living. And the only way we was able to pick up cash and make money was because of all of the big ball games Alabama played at Legion Field. The Iron Bowl was
Legion Field, yeah.
The Tennessee game was always there. The LSU game was, none of those big primetime games were played in Brian Dennis Stadium. They were all played at Legion Field because they can hold, you know, at that particular point in time, the stadium in Tuscaloosa could only hold so many people, so they played them at Legion Field. So man, we'll park cars on the public street. We used to put cones down in front of the projects, put about 4 or 5 cones down. We see somebody come by, we'll tell them to park.
Waving the towel.
Yeah. And it's on the public street, and they'll pay us, and we'll say like, hey, we'll watch your car for you while you gone. And as soon as they leave, we leave. But before they get back, we hustle back to that car, walk around it, make sure ain't nobody did nothing to it, and wait for those people to come back. And I said, man, I watch your car, nobody bothered. They'll give us another tip.
He had Inslee Avenue locked down, didn't you?
Yeah, so I became a Bama fan, and I can remember, this is a cool story talking about impacting. So when I got old enough, I kind of was able to sell Cokes in the upper deck, and believe it or not, I wasn't even playing football at the time because my mother wouldn't allow me to play until I got like in 8th grade when I secretly joined the team, and obviously I got caught. So any of you young people watching out there, pretty much, you ain't gonna get by your mom and your dad, and you eventually gonna get caught. But anyway, I told the guys, that the Coke guys, that man, I'm gonna be playing football down there one day. I was selling up Cokes in the upper deck to the third quarter, and then the fourth quarter rolls around. I pack it in. I realized that ice sold for more than the Coke. I never knew why everybody wanted the ice, but I found out later on in life why they wanted all that ice. So I would pull the Coke out and sell the ice for a little bit more money than I could sell the Coke for. Because everybody wanted ice. And I was like, what is up with this ice? and then I can remember those guys like, you're not going to be down there playing on football. And I can remember my first game as a freshman at Legion Field. You know how you get off the bus, you come out, and you walk, you walk around the field. The guys, y'all remember that where you walk, you put your stuff in the locker room, then you take the walk around the field. So when I took the walk around the field my freshman year, the guys that I sold Cokes with in the upper deck and on the team were standing in the south end zone.
Wow.
Behind the fence. And I went over and I dapped them up, and they was like, man, Hump, man, Bobby, man, you made it, man. You made it, man. I can't believe you on the team. Now, that was one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced in my life, was being able to greet them my freshman year.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, I got two. I'm going to go to but one I want to get a Derek. Somebody brought it up, and it kind of made me think about it. You having to go against Derek Thomas in practice. And I'm sure you got to Denver and like, I'm done with that dude. And you're like, hell, he's playing for my arch rival. Was that, you had to go against Derek in the pros. Is there any, do y'all have any classic?
And Biscuit at Buffalo.
Yeah, you had him at Buffalo, but you had to play Kansas City twice a year. Is there any classic stories with you and Derek going head to head that the Bama Nation would just love to hear?
No, the fortunate thing for me with playing the Kansas City Chiefs is because my debut as a running back and missing a block and John Elway almost getting his head took off, they took me out on third downs. So you were the first and second down back in the NFL when I was with the Broncos.
All right. Well, that leads to my Elway question. It's legendary how competitive he was. I think he said he had a pool table that he had never lost on, and was it Brister or somebody beat him on it, and he sold it the next day. Did you see that side of Elway? Is there any kind of story, a legendary moment where damn, that some bitch is competitive?
Yeah, very competitive. Very competitive. I played with Dan Marino and John Elway. The difference in the two is John Elway would scramble out of the pocket, and if it's a linebacker between him and the goal line, that linebacker better scrap it on for John Elway finna run him over to get the touchdown. Mm. With Dan Marino, we running out the clock in the New England game up in Foxborough, and the play comes to the huddle for Dan to do a quarterback sneak. He changed the play and said, "Shucks, I ain't running no ball. We're gonna get his ball to Bobby Humphrey." And they gave
That's good stuff. You got to play with two of the absolute legends. It was one better than the other, or are they just completely different dudes?
Well, they both 1 and 2 in comeback victories, in the fourth quarter. They were very competitive. Dan threw a little bit more of a nicer, softer ball. John Elway would totally put a hole in your chest with the tip of the ball. He threw it so hard. But they were both competitors, and I am the only player in NFL history to ever catch a touchdown pass by both those guys. So,
wow, that's right.
A little bit tribute right there.
Man, I'm gonna get that right on Jeopardy. I'll tell you that.
I'm writing that down for memory's sake.
Jeopardy. I'm trying to hustle somebody on the strip. I'm waiting for Jeopardy.
But I can tell you this right here. I've been in the huddle with both those guys on the last minute drive, and I can tell you right now, if you leave any one of those two guys with a minute left on the clock, and we on our own 20, if we down by 3, if we down by 2, we kicking a field goal to win. If we down by 6, we scoring a touchdown. that was almost 90% of the time. And they live for that moment. I mean, absolutely live for that moment. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Hey, we're going to take this down the field and we're going to put it in, baby. Here we go. And there you go. And that's it. They are at their best when the game is on the line and they're behind and they need a go-ahead score.
Good stuff. Good stuff. That's my thing. Now I'm in my Wayne's World. I'm not worthy moment. So I appreciate that, Bobby. That's good stuff.
We talked about making a difference, and Bobby, you've done that for the guys on this panel. I've heard you speak at FCA when I was at Alabama. One of the best ways to leave a legacy is to mentor those who are coming after you. What way do you feel like you impacted the running back room that you were leaving as you went to the pros? What was the biggest? What was the most meaningful thing that you got out of that?
Leaving the running back room.
Well, just as their mentor, as you went to the pros, what was the most meaningful, I guess, thing that you left them as they carried on the torch?
I think they were probably happy to see me go,
so they could play.
Yeah, I had another year. I think one of the things that I may have left in was that I kind of broke my foot twice. So I want to say I left them. I was more of a guy who led by example, didn't do a whole lot of speaking, didn't do a whole lot of talking. But I had broke my foot twice, and I thought my career was going to come to an end. And I was able to bounce back that spring and run a good time and enter into the draft. So I hope I left them with some encouragement that they can overcome adversity, somewhat similar to the Daniel Hill period, overcoming adversity.
Speaking of the draft, you got drafted in the first round of the supplemental draft. Can you talk us through that process back then? Because I know that supplemental draft is different now.
It was weird back then, Coach. I mean, it was kind of like we sat around my house with some reporters, Paul Feinbaum being one of them. And I can remember Paul Feinbaum sitting up in the living room by himself. And everybody else was sitting in the back with the group. And I remember my mom coming up there and saying, why are you sitting up here by yourself? Why are you not back there with all the rest of the people? He said, well, they don't like me very well. That was when Paul first kind of bust on the scene. He was stirring up trouble everywhere.
So he's consistent for the years.
But we sat around, Gerald, and we just kind of waited for a phone call because you didn't know where you was going to get drafted. It was kind of like the first round guys, if you wanted to draft somebody in the first round, you threw your name in the hat.
Right.
And they pulled out the names. And if you put in that you were going to draft, then you got a chance to pick, but you would have to pick within the order that you was listed in the regular draft that was the regular draft that was the draft a month or so before.
Correct.
The supplemental draft. So I was under the anticipation that I was going to get drafted number 3 by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, Ray Perkins was there and he recruited me and blase. Well, come to find out, Ray Perkins actually put his name in the hat as a second round pick. But Denver put their name in the hat as a first round pick. So when it got to Denver called me up and, and it was like, we just drafted you. You coming to the Denver Broncos. And I'll be honest with you, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I had no clue about Denver, Colorado. Wasn't expecting it. And I said, I told my agent at the time, who was Gerald, he was in the room. I said, Denver, what is the world going on? What's up with Denver? He said, well, son, you probably need to pack your coat. That's all he told me. Yeah, but it was one of the best places that I could have gone, and they loved their football there. It was more like a college town. They loved them some Broncos in Denver.
There's no question about that. All right, before we wind things down, I ask this of every show. Bobby, what's your favorite moment at Alabama?
Favorite moment?
Yeah, I mean, you've got some. They play on the big screen before every game. But
I want to ask Coach something first before I answer that question.
Okay,
Smoke,
go for it.
let me ask you this here. You was a scout for how long in the NFL?
7 years.
7 years. When do you guys actually start? Do y'all start looking at players that possibly could be in high school and following them through the college, or do y'all wait till they get to college and then start kind of following them?
College, and typically after your freshman year. If you're one of those young guys that have a spark, I usually started tracking that player.
Okay.
And then you start going through the background information of those younger players to collect the character, the background, parents, upbringing, and all that, just so you can have a catalog. You're building basically your Bible on them.
Right.
And then junior year, you start studying them more if they're going to be eligible or thinking about coming out, so they don't surprise you. And if they ever do last until their senior year, now you've done all your work, and all you have to do is some cleanup work into their senior year. If they play that way.
So basically, being that some of these kids are 5 stars don't really matter to you guys, because y'all wait till they get to the college rank to kind of prove them. Okay, I got you.
Absolutely. And even with the 5-star process in a college ranking, high school ranking to the college, I think it's one of the most difficult things to do, is to project somebody from high school into the NFL. Because as you know, some of us grow 2 inches. Some of us gain 20 to 30 pounds in college. You go from running back to being a defensive lineman. I've seen it happen. So it's a hard projection in that manner. So it's an easier projection to project up from college to pros instead of from high school to the pros, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's good. I always wondered that. I don't know why. I just thought that the NFL would be watching high school players.
Well, and Marlon played it like Hoover, so at that point, it's a different barometer. But you got so many of these small schools where 5-star kids come from, and they're playing against kids that aren't of that talent level where Marlon was playing. So it was almost at a college level. So they may at some of the bigger, as Smoke like I said, but it's just so hard because you don't know what they're playing against at that level. In college, you do.
You know what, Pettey, telling the truth, and Bobby and I shared the story about the phone call that we had. That'll be private, but when I studied Marlon coming out, I remember talking to Bobby and said, B Hump, like, he's going to get so much better in the NFL.
Wow.
He was a good player in college, but you saw just not playing year round, because I remember him not playing in some spring because he did a lot of track. His growth from Bama to what he is now as a pro, I projected that. I said, this ain't even close.
You sure did.
Because I said some of the things that he's not doing, he's already got it. Tough, sticky coverage, being in your hip pocket. But finding the ball and turnovers and ball production was one of the things that I knocked on him, because he didn't have a ton of interceptions. He didn't have a lot of forced fumbles. But now you look at Marlon right now, the ball it's glued to him. He got that peanut punch down, ball in the air. He's like a receiver. So there's some guys that you're going to have to, if you're good at it, be able to project what you see depending on their skill set. And that has something to do with who you are as an evaluator.
Well, I can tell you this right here. You're a darn good evaluator, because you sure enough told me that he would be better. He would get better in the NFL. And he is playing lights out. He's 3-time three-time Pro Bowl, 2-time All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowl, I think. So, he's playing just lights out, and I couldn't believe that he would play better than where he was playing at Alabama. It's amazing how his production increased.
And the crazy thing is, I felt like when you made that phone call to me, and I was just so happy that you called that day. I was like, man, calling me. I was like, good. So when we talked, and he was like, should he? And I was like, bro, I said, you don't understand how good he is. He's like, man, Smoke, he's good, but I don't know. I said, you want me to go get my GM? Got the GM. He's like, absolutely. If he's there, we'll take him. So, you're not one of those fathers that have those goggles on. You actually didn't think your son was that great. You thought he was good, but you didn't see one of the best corners in the NFL in the last 5 years, and that's what he is.
No, I did not see that, but to answer your question, as a freshman, wet behind the ears, didn't know much about the meaning of the Alabama-Auburn football game.
Ooh.
1985, we had no chance on paper of winning that game against Bo Jackson and the Auburn Tigers. And Van Tippin kicked the field goal with no time left on the clock. No timeouts. Got to the line, kicked the ball. Everybody's ready. And it was kind of like I never saw leading up to that last 3 plays of how things would go. And I kind of understood it later in life. But the field goal team was on the sideline ready to go. They was already lined up, and they was just walking down the field with the ball because we had no timeouts left. So as soon as Greg Richardson got out of bounds, everybody sprinted out there on the field, and because we didn't have no timeouts. We couldn't call a timeout to get everybody ready. They got lined up, and boom, he kicked one down the middle, 52 yards field goal, and we won the game. That's one of my greatest moments, Alabama.
Can't top that. I know we're winding things down, but we have an audience question. It's a good one considering what's going on. Keenan Fee wants to know, do you have any advice for these young players with NIL straight out of high school?
Advice to these players that's getting NIL money is to find someone that you can learn some financial literacy from. Some of this NIL money, some of these kids are not going to plan on going to play pro ball. So there's an opportunity for them to get some money and be able to stack it, save it, use it wisely, help jumpstart their career once they get out of college. Because everybody's not going to the league. That would be my advice to NIL.
Man, well said. And well, Bobby, I didn't say I appreciate that compliment. Thank you very much. And what you just said in terms of college players not even having that thirst, that drive to play in the NFL, talking to some of my scouts that I still talk to, that's some of the things that's coming up in these meetings at the combine, that these kids really don't even care anymore in terms of getting to the NFL because they're really making somewhat of an NFL salary already since high school for some, depending on the state, and a lot in college. So it's like the hunger and the desire to become a professional somewhat is being removed because they're already being taken care of financially. And, immature mind, not understanding that this thing's not going to last forever, they're not looking at the big picture of their financial impact and what the impact they can make upon their life after football. So great advice in terms of getting a financial guy that's going to straighten you out.
They need some help with doing that too. They need some help with doing it. We need to, parents and the NFL agents that are involved. I don't know what you call them, a person that helps them negotiate the deal or whatever. I don't know if they call agents or what, but they're representatives, I should say. But they should take the liberty of educating the family about these funds. Obviously, if you gave me $1 million at the age of 21,
we all bad. It would have been all bad.
I would have been just a duet legend.
I might remember what happened down in Miami.
Hands up on that one, Emil. Come on.
Yeah,
shame on them.
Not gonna make the best decisions.
Listen, you gave me that kind of money at 18, 19. Listen, it was gonna be all bad. Nothing good would have come up.
Other than a good time. That's it.
That's it. All right, last questions. Archibalds or Dreamland? Who's the champ?
Oh my God! Is that to me?
That's to you.
Yep.
Oh my God!
Hardest question of the night.
We ask everybody this question, man.
And they just got Archibalds here in Birmingham.
Hold on, Mr. Humphrey. Hold on. Let me preface it for you. The original Dreamland
OG Dream
versus Archibalds. Not this product that's being put out now.
Yeah, the OG on the hill.
The OG Dreamland?
Yeah, on the hill where you get where Big Mama put the bib on you when you walked in.
See, y'all kind of lead me down the road now. Y'all not doing fair. Y'all not.
Archibald can still win this. Archibald's look. It's still we get what
I go
Archibald.
Dreamland just for tradition's sake. Boy, I ate up some Dreamland ribs when I was in Tuscaloosa, boy.
Man, nothing beat OG Dreamland.
Archibald's is open here in Birmingham, so I haven't had a chance to go by and see him yet. But you just struck a nerve. I might just see them before the week is out.
off Martin Luther in Northport in the little hut. It's different.
Man, what a great show. Bobby, thank you so much for being on. It's an absolute honor every time you come. We always have a great time with you. Before we close out, I want everyone to go around the room, tell folks how they can find you on the internet. We'll start out with Marvin Constant. We'll let Smoke go after him, then Pettey, and then Bobby, you will go last.
You can find me on Instagram, Constant45. You can find me on Twitter, Constant451. I ain't hard to find. I'm always out here.
He ain't hard to find, but you don't want to find him. You can find me Mondays with my man Daniel Pettey on the opening kick. 7 Central, 8 Eastern. Every Monday we there. You can find me on X at Coach GV Dixon. Plenty of content. Like, follow. We'll get it all done.
Pettey.
Find me at like you said, my man Smoke on Mondays on the opening kick. I don't normally call fans out though, but this is like one of the sweetest immediate responses. On our show last night, somebody responded, Mr. Humphrey, that Smoke don't know ball. And on tonight's show, I hope that fan is listening because you heard the Alabama legend Bobby Humphrey tell Smoke about the interaction he had about his son, who he scouted as an NFL, star, which he is. So he may know just a little ball. And again, I don't like calling out fans, but this was beautiful. Like what a great response. So yes, come back on Monday nights to me, who knows ball, and my guy Smoke, who obviously doesn't. And check us out. Opening kick. You're always welcome to join us one Monday, Mr. Humphrey. We would love to have you. And after this, I'm on the final whistle, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central with my guys, Matt Caddell, Talks a Lot, Chris James, his big brother, Dan James, Lushan, who's getting it done these days, and Ty Hayes. Check us out. Final whistle in just a little bit. But more than anything, Bobby, it's been an honor sharing the stage with you tonight, sir. Again, you inspired these guys in ways, to get it done on the field, but it goes past that. It's not – you guys are one part of it, but those stadiums fill up with 100,000 people because of what y'all do and the memories y'all made. And it started out small and got bigger, but it's guys like you that really are the legends for guys like me and Justin that made us fall in love with Alabama football. So thank you. I've enjoyed the hell out of this, Bobby.
Yeah, but absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, I know our time didn't overlap down there on the capstone, guys, but I follow both you guys' careers, and from one Bama Sci-Fi to another Bama Sci-Fi, man, you guys well represented. Appreciate all the things you've done over the years, Smoke. And you said you were 24/7 now?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
We'll get that done for you too.
Good, that's good deal. You can hit me up. I'm not a big social media guy, but listen, Bryant Bank, and actually we giving out we giving out money down there. Come on by there and get yourself some.
You saying I can get that 18 bill that we talked about earlier?
Yeah, man, you sure can. Yeah, you sure can. I'm at Bryant Bank. I'm at the one in Hoover, located on 150. But you can reach me at at Bobby H2644. My Twitter. So you can hit me up there. If not, hey, come down there 150 Bryant Bank and come see the hump.
Absolutely.
You need a new car, we can help you out. You need a new house, we can help you out. You need to do some renovation, we can help you out. Smoke, you want that fur coat? We can help you out.
For me and the wife. For you and the
wife. Man, great stuff. Bobby, thank you so much again for being with us and putting up with our nonsense. Glad that you enjoy it. We enjoy having you Please don't be a stranger, brother. But thank you again for everything you've done for the university and for being with us tonight. That will do it for all of us here at the Bama Standard. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. If you're watching a replay, get down below. Tell us how we did and tell us what you want to know in the next episode. Until then, roll tide, everyone.
Roll tide.
Roll tide.